Hello, my name is Adam Yance with Domain 6, and I'd like to welcome you to our short presentation around leasing execution. Microsoft Dynamics D365 has a fully operational property management solution built right into the product. With its four pillars supporting that property management solution around property management, tenants, tenant invoicing, and contract maintenance, we're going to focus on the contract execution today. Leasing contracts are made up of two parts, the contract header and the contract lines. The contract header serves as a default for all the contract lines. Information like dates, move-in, rights of renewal, planned move-out, etc. are all stored in the header, and they are transferred to each of the contract lines as they are created to speed up the contract creation process. The contract lines is where all the billing information is stored. Information such as the fee types, rents, deposits, CAMs, taxes, number of free months, billing and price frequencies, etc. are all stored, and that's where all the execution and postings actually happen. Now, when we talk about billing types such as rent, there are four types of categories of rent that we support in the system. One is a standard rent where you just basically put, $1,100 a month times 12 months and you're done. The next one is more of an index-based rent where you tie your rent rates to a market index. This is much more popular in Europe than it is in North America, but it is supported in the system. Turnover rent or percentage rent is very popular for the retail industry, where you either charge them a base rent or not, and then you charge them a percentage of a metric. Now, in this case of restaurants, it would be a percentage of sales or some sort of retail outlet. In some instances where space was used for schools, we charged them based on head count of students. So that could be done. The difference is that the percentage rent needs a reconciliation where we get the sales or the head count of the students, see if it's above or below our minimum, and then make adjustments monthly for thereon. And then the last one is a step rent, where basically you already know what your rent increases are ahead of time at the time of contract creation, and that's the example I'm going to cover today. Here I'm logged into Dynamics 365 F&O, and I'm in the property management solution. As you can see, I have my four pillars of the solution where I have my property administration, my tenant information, contracts, and of course billing. Today we're just going to focus on the contract management. And here's my dashboard for contracts where I have my KPIs, a list of all my contracts that I have, information about those contracts. I have my Power BI that I can embed my Power BI reports right into my dashboard, and some quick links of where I'd like to go in the system. For today, we're just simply going to go manually create a new contract. And as you can see, I already have my contract as active and tenant signed. We can talk more about that in a different video about different statuses. But for this example, I'll just go ahead and say this is for Alpine Ski House. Is going to be looking at renting one of our units. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my straight line accounting for my IFRS 16 and ASC 842 leasing standards. I'll talk more about that in a different video, but I am tracking this lease against it. And this will be a triple N lease where we're talking about my property 2000. They're interested in the first floor unit. And what unit are they interested in? You can see here, I can see which ones are vacant, which ones are occupied. They're interested in shop 6 is the unit they want to get. Who's my tenant? Well, I can just type in the first letters of the name and pull up the record. And when is it valid to? I'm going to use my date picker. I'm going to come in here and say it's valid from the 1st of November until December 31st of 2024, so a little bit over a 4-year lease. We're in the state of Washington, so I'm tracking my taxes. And then there's lots of other information that you can track on the lease. Information like, do we go and charge them collection letters and interest if they're late? On the date ranges, do I want to charge them give them 3 months rent? In this case, I will. Do we have notice periods? What are my dates? What dates they sign? The reason why you'd fill these out is that once you fill out all this information on the lease, you can use the generate from template using the power of Microsoft Office, Word, and bookmarks, and it'll pre-populate your bookmarks with that information. The system can automatically convert that to a PDF, and you can use DocuSign to then get the lease signed. I'm going to skip this information for now. And of course, one of the most important ones that I think for people is the financial dimension tracking. So you can actually, instead of using projects and departments, you can use your communities or your properties, tag these with your property financial dimension, tag it with your tenant financial dimension, and you can run P&Ls by your tenants, run P&Ls by your properties, instead of having it just run by the company and doing some analyses outside the system. So right now I'm going to go to my lease lines, and we're just go ahead and start building our contract. So here I have my contract. You notice everything's defaulting in from the header, which is great. I'm going to have my rent, and per my information here, I say I should be getting $3,000 a month for this unit. However, because times are tough right now, I'm going to have to discount it to $2,750 so I can at least get it populated. And you can see it's billed monthly and the pricing is monthly. However, I could have had the quantity defaulted based on the square footage of the unit. I could have had the price frequency set to yearly, like $14.50 a square foot, broken out yearly, but billed monthly. All that's doable. I just made mine a very simple example today. Once I go ahead and save that record, you can see the system already inserted my free rent period and changed the to and from dates. So now I got my free rental periods done, and then my lease starting. If you didn't put in a free rental period in the header, you could have always inserted it right here manually. And now I'm ready to model out my lease per my adjustments. Now, use two ways to do it. You can use this simple form here that says what is the start date of your adjustment, what's the percentage or dollar amount increase, and how long is that adjustment good for, which is fine. Or you can go old school where you can view it in a grid format and manually create it. So here I can just say 6/1 of 2021. I'm going to have a 1.5% increase. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then starting in January of 2022, I'm then going to have a 2% increase. And we'll do another one for 2023, and we'll have a 2.2% increase. And then 2024, the last year of the contract, I'm going to have a 3% increase. So now I just modeled out my lease. As you can see, I'm just still below my standard, but what I'm trying to do is to get as close as possible to what I should be bringing in, but that's just my example I created. Now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and bring those new lease lines into my contract that I've done. I could have waited. You don't have to do it right away, but I went ahead and did it now. And as you can see now, I have my lines created. Now you may ask, can I do other lines than just rent? And the answer is absolutely. I can go ahead and create a new line, and I can do a drop down to my billing types. And these are all the ones that I have in the system. These are manually or user defined. You guys get to decide which ones you want to use. Do they need to be settled for any prepays that you're going to do? It's up to you, but I'm just going to go ahead and select CAMs as an example. And this CAM will expire 12/31 of 2021 because it's our common area maintenance that we're forecasting. And my fee is going to be $1,345 a month. That needs to be settled down the road. There you go. I have now modeled my lease in the system, and now I am ready to go ahead and continue the operations and billing side of it.